All right, so it's been a while. I posted my video with ZiggyNo, and this is a clip from that. And I'll be posting clips for the next few days. And then I have a special treat with reserve investments that I'll be posting the clips and then eventually the full video. So enjoy.
How are things going with Funko Pops and like the Funko Pop market? Because I remember you were making videos on
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So it's funny. I was just reading an article about this. I mean, the Funkos themselves are not doing well, man. Like they just dumped like $30 million in Funkos in the trash. Now the reason for that is interesting. Like I heard somebody say like the cost of the inventory and the warehousing was greater than the cost of actually selling the Funkos, like the cost of having to set up to sell them. So they literally dumped them. Now those are the what I refer to as kind of the base Funkos. I still focus on the NFT Funkos,
Hmm.
which are still which are limited. And I have to say those have been doing really well, man.
Hmm.
Like there was a drop, and just kind of explain this. There was a drop, and every 2 weeks they drop packs of these NFT packs. Okay, every 2 weeks, almost like clockwork. And every
Hmm.
2 weeks, this damn thing sells out, except for the last time. The last time it didn't sell out. Now they only leave a window of 3 hours, which I think is weird. Like I think if they left the window open, it would sell out. But you only have 3 hours to buy the packs. Then they burn the rest. Those packs sold for $10 and $30. They are now going in the aftermarket for $25 and $75 a pack.
Hmm.
So they've exploded in value just in those packs alone. And then the actual physicals themselves, the physicals are still going for anywhere from 50 to 150, 200, sometimes are $300 on the aftermarket for the physical redeemable pops. So those are
Hmm.
still doing very well. And I'm still very bullish on it. It's funny. I've had a lot of people say to me, well, you're getting out of Funkos now, they're crashing. I'm like, it's a different set of Funkos, like the NFT Funkos. And I'll grab one. All right. So like if you see this, I don't know if they can see with me here, but these are, damn it, I hate this damn. I'll do this. Can you see me now?
It's black. I just see like a
Let me
black container.
let me stop this virtual background here. I don't know how to stop this. Virtual background. I'm sitting in my office anyway.
And assuming what you're holding is an NFT Funko.
Well, it's a redeem Funko,
Oh,
right?
so redeem. Okay, makes sense.
And see this is what I'm saying. See, this starts as a pack, and then you
Hmm.
have to open it and get it. But there's only 999 of these produced.
Hmm.
Okay. And actuality is actually less than that made because most people don't redeem them. And that's what makes these things cool is that if like another one has like, I don't know, 2000 out, all 2000 don't ever get redeemed. You normally have like 1900 get redeemed, 1800 get redeemed. So there's the chase of them, there's rarity in them, and then you can actually grade them now. And the other thing I love doing, which I'm doing at the next few conferences, is getting autographs on them.
Oh, interesting.
Now, this to me, I think is freaking. This is my personal love because I'm getting the Funko out of an NFT pack. It's already rare because this one there's only what 1,967 of these made. This is William Shatner. Then I got it autographed by William Shatner, and then I got it graded by PSA. So that's makes it more collectible for me. It's funny too because I was talking to my sons. I haven't been selling any.
Hmm.
I was selling these last year, and I was making easily $100 per Funko that I was selling easily, and with a rough investment around $40 when I figure out the pack price, all the other pieces of it. Um, and then I stopped doing it because I realized I think I'm selling them too cheaply. I think there's just I think they actually is more value in them. I'm going to hold them. I might actually just build the inventory for 3 to 6 months and then see where the market is with in regards to the Funkos. In regard to sports cards, though, I've been selling sports cards and kind of that's actually picked up a lot. I mean, that market, I won't say it's recovered, but there's definitely churn. There's people buying and selling sports cards. So I've been sending those to like DC 87, the
Hmm.
consignment place. I've also been selling some on ComC, and I've been going to either local card shows or whatever and selling where I can. So that's been fueling kind of my collection. While the Funkos have been kind of just building an inventory there.
Okay. Yeah, I was like interested because there's some, I guess there are a few people have come out and said certain things about Funkos. Um because There are some that are like limited or rare, and then what you're talking about, the NFT Funkos, is kind of like a completely different thing.
Yeah.
But like you can find Funkos everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the original Funkos, and even a lot of limited edition ones. Some of them you can still find those almost anywhere. So it's like they kind of remind me of like Pez dispensers.
Mhm.
I had someone who
Those are more collectible, I hear. Like Pez dispensers are actually more rare than people believe.
yeah,
You know?
a lot of them are. Actually, somebody who's in my lab, they used to work at like a Pez dispenser factory or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
They would get free Pez dispensers, and they had their boss collected a bunch of
Did
them.
you see the Netflix special on this?
No, I've not seen it.
Oh my God, dude. Have you heard about this?
No, I've not.
You've got to go see it. I think it's called The Pez Outlaw on Netflix. It
Hmm.
is so damn good because it's a story about Pez in the 80s and 90s, but you can understand the similarities on sports cars and their collectibles. And it's really simple. This guy, just a Joe Schmo living, I think, in Wisconsin with his son, they would go to Pez collection conferences and sell them. And I forget how he got into it. I forget if he was an employee or something like that. I think he was an employee. I can't remember. But what ends up happening, he goes to like Czechoslovakia, which is during the time of the Cold War or right after the Cold War. So you have the Eastern Western. So he goes there to what's considered the time Pez International, because there's Pez USA and there's Pez International. So he goes to Pez International and he did some deal with them, and they gave him a bunch of Pez's that were limited to the European market. And again, this is back in the 80s. There's no global commerce. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? There's no internet. So he came back like these bubble face guys. He had 10 or 15 of them. Short story, that blows up. He becomes a major collector. He starts going back and forth, bringing Pez that are from Europe into the United States. And why it's an outlaw is that the United States actually has a ban on certain Pez. Like the Pez company had agreed that Pez USA would only license certain things, like for
Hmm.
Disney or whatever. And Pez Europe was making knockoffs, right?
Hmm.
And the guys there didn't care. So in other words, the guy was going there and doing backdoor deals with people who were at the factories who was, yeah, I'll sell to you, because it was Europe back in the day. So it's a really interesting story because here's what the killer thing is Pez in the United States, in order to put this guy to business, they decide to just mass produce. So in other words, he's stealing back like this bubble face character one, right? And he's selling them for hundreds. So Pez decides to just flood the market with bubble face characters, and they make it for like 99 cents. And it drives the value of this thing from like it used to be $1,000 down to like $2. But it's such an interesting story because Pez USA talks about how they're anti-collector. They
Hmm.
didn't like the collector community, so they didn't want these to be collectible. They would, anytime they'd find about collectible stuff, they had spies following this outlaw guy back and forth to Europe because they also wanted to find out who in Europe was leaking the Pez dispensers to him. Dude, fascinating freaking story. You should definitely check it out. Because again, I can see how you talk about the 80s. You can think about how, like, if you're at Fleer, some guy comes over there, does a backdoor deal, gives you a couple $100. Yeah, man, take a couple cases of Fleer 86 basketball. We don't want the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, who cared back then? No one cared. So when you mention that, it goes in there, they interview some Pez collectors, and these guys have rooms like today, modern today, just decorated in Pez. And the guys talk about the Pez passion, and there's a very small niche community of Pez collectors, but still very passionate today. And it just reminded me of sports cards. So when you mentioned that, I was like, man, you got to see that.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I'll check that out.
And I'll also say this too. You mentioned the Funkos. It's interesting right now, dude. Magic the Gathering. You saw what they did, right? Where they had
Hmm.
the what was it? The packs that came out that were like remade from the past,
Hmm.
right? Well, Funko did the same thing where they started remaking what was referred to vaulted Funkos. And this is another thing that pissed people off. Like the original Batman was considered vaulted, and they
Hmm.
came out with like I don't know, 10-year unvaulted series. So now they're unvaulting ones that they previously had told people they weren't going to make more of. Now they're making more. Just now they're gonna have different years on it. It's kind of like reprints, right?
Yeah.
Um, and that's again why I still think I love these Funkos because they still are limited by the NFT thing. And again, who knows? They could reproduce these again too, you know. But
Yeah.